Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next episode of Vinyl Stallions! Alright. And if you're watching, you're seeing we're live again in Spruce Studios. I'm happy we are bringing people live in person. It's great to connect with some gents. And the gents we have today are the boys of Buzz Balldrin. We have Charlie McCoy on guitar and vocals. We got Zack Wilson on bass. And we got Evan Hubbard on drums. Boys, what's good?
What's going on, man?
Like I said, I appreciate you guys, taking some time coming on out and again doing this in the studio. It's way better to interaction than just staring at that fucking screen and staring at Klep's head all the time. So I appreciate you guys coming along.
For sure. Yeah, thanks for having us. This is our first podcast experience.
Well, beautiful.
So,
well, we're just gonna let this thing ride, and wherever it takes us, it'll take us.
Right. We weren't sure what to expect, so I guess we'll find out.
Hey, we never know. Anything goes in this one. Klep, what's good?
Everything's good. Life is good, and I'm pumped to be talking with y'all today.
How's did you get hurt yesterday? He went to the Detroit and saw the Guardians Indians get just destroyed by the Detroit Tigers. You heartfelt?
What a waste of time. Buy 2 sets of tickets, go out there, we're on a roll. You think 2 games against the Tigers, at the very worst, we're going to at least win 1. Nope. A freaking guy making his major league debut in the first game, just 2 hits. That's it.
Whatever. We're not talking about that bullshit today. We're talking about better things.
Yeah.
Again, Buzz Balldrin. Gents, name. Where did it come from? I need this broken down right now because for those in reference in Cleveland, there's another band out there too. You guys know the Buzz Balldrin.
Yeah, it's our fake enemies.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah.
We have a fake beef. It benefits us both.
Yeah.
It's like any publicity is good publicity type
I'm
deal.
pretty sure everybody gets us all confused at all times.
Yeah. And even I've gone as far as wearing their T-shirt at our concerts just to make it as convoluted and confusing for everyone involved as possible.
That's fucking hilarious.
And I will say I'm sure that we've probably gotten offered some shows that when we started playing, it wasn't until that moment people were like, "Oh fuck, this is not the band I thought it was."
It's pretty obvious at that point.
Yeah, right. Because they just do a very different style of music than we do. They're kind of a little more jammy than us. We're more tinge of metal.
Yes.
A little more straightforward, a little more like songwriting aspect of it.
Yeah, they definitely have some more improv parts, I would say, than what we play typically.
Yeah, everything that we play live is very calculated.
Right.
There's no jammy parts really,
No, and that is something I want to we'll touch on later on because I was listening to your guys' EP today and holy shit, you boys got this thing locked with their transitions and just every little fill you're laying down on those drums. But tell me, so before the Buzz Balldrin boys came into your life as your alter ego, how did you guys think of this name? Where did this roll from?
Zach, you wanna take this one?
Basically, when we started, we always, this guy, he lived by a liquor store. He'd always get buzz balls before we would start our practices.
So, terrible.
Shout out Buzz Balls.
Shout out Buzz Balls. Sponsor us, man.
We've
been trying to get them to sponsor us
from time to time, but eventually, hopefully, we get a sponsorship. Probably never. But anyway,
We know the pain. We've been trying to get Winking Lizard.
right. Yeah.
We haven't put in any effort, but yes.
I guess I better stop saying that Buzz Balls are terrible then.
They're on par with Mad Dog. It's that kind of just whatever, just get fucked up.
You just know you're gonna have a day when you're drinking one of those two.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're gonna have a headache the next day.
So when we started, we always had those for our practices. We'd all chug a buzz ball and we'd just start dicking around. We started with covers, and then eventually we're like, dude, our first song has got to be an homage to Buzz Balls, and that's what it's got to be. So it was always an idea for a song. And then once we started really thinking about different name ideas, Charlie was like, well, he wanted a space theme of some sort. Because the astronaut tat and all that stuff.
An astronaut tattoo.
And I'm pretty sure Buzz Aldrin was on our huge list of like real names and joke names. Like we had a huge list. It was on an old phone and I lost it and I'm kind of salty about it. But Buzz Balldrin was definitely on that list. And then I kind of just combined the two. And then it was like that was the evolution of it, because the big inspiration for why we wanted to start doing this was Ty Segall band Buzz.
Yeah.
And we fucking love them. And so that was in the back of my head. So that's where Buzz Balldrin came from, just another play on that. And then just combined the two. And for a couple days, I remember in the text group, you guys were kind of like, I don't know. It's like kind of like too punny. And I love it, but I love that. I love a shitty pun.
I think we were on the fence about a couple names because a lot of the names we had on there were.
Well, I mean, Schmeg Letterman and the Rubber Titty Duo.
Yeah, we had
still my favorite one.
this could have gone.
Schmeg Letterman.
Yeah, Schmeg Letterman is basically a figment of our imagination. And he's your typical fuck boy.
Yeah.
A lot of face tattoos, grill, but he's like 40. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's why he's hanging out with the Rubber Titty Duo, chicks with fake tits.
Dude,
always one on guitar, you know.
He talks about doing Molly like just too much.
But he's in a space outfit. That's also just part of the
dude, that is hilarious.
So yeah, the name could have gone any number of directions. Most of which were also ridiculous and jokey.
Yeah, low res porn was one of them.
Yeah, low res porn.
False prophets.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that's the worst. I mean, like,
At first, we thought we were kind of picking from the worst of the list, and then after like a week or so or two,
We realized they were all bad.
it kind of just dawned on us, like, hey, Buzz Balldrin, like, fuck it, like, we just went with it, and it stuck, and then it became what it is.
And honestly, we got a lot of compliments on it right out the gate that I personally was a little bit surprised that,
The alliteration hits.
it does.
Yeah.
The alliteration's always good.
it absolutely does. And I was talking to them before we came on about. So you got developed in 2018, and then in 2019 is when I had a band called Tomo Alone, and we were like playing out and about in the Cleveland area for a couple of months. But I remember seeing these boys in just your space outfits, your orange suits with the helmets, and just fucking, again, the music that you play is just like shocker, right? When you just are getting after it. Do you guys still wear those outfits playing out?
You know what? We haven't in a while, but I think we're due for a show with them here. pretty soon.
I honestly wanted to do it for all of our shows, and then there was the conversation of, was that too gimmicky? But also, a gimmick is fun if you own it enough.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, I have to get another one because I put on some weight sense, and I have the largest size that they sell on Amazon. It's a little too small.
I also ripped the crotch of mine on Halloween.
Oh yeah.
Not in a cool story kind of way or anything. I just sat down in a car seat and it just ripped like.
Like I remember I was trying to replace it. I have like the 2XL. I was like, oh, let me get a 3XL, but the child version only goes up to 3XL. So I actually bought a child 3XL, and I got it, and it was like this big.
Put it on your one leg.
I was like, that's not
Guys, I don't think this is the right XL.
Yeah.
That's goofy as fuck.
Yeah, they're not very good quality, but they're pretty cheap. So
yeah.
Yeah, hey, it's the beauty of it all. So honestly, well, like, let's start with you, Zach. Like, when did you get into playing the bass guitar? When you picked that up?
So bass pretty much was at the start of this.
Okay,
I mean, I've played guitar since I was in like 5th grade.
nice.
My grandpa and like uncle, my grandpa played in bands back in the day. Played in a band called Bet Penny. They're local, just like favorite, I guess. They played a lot of covers. Used to jam with Joe Walsh back in the day.
Oh,
So I have some sort of a pedigree there in a little bit.
that's cool as fuck.
Not much though.
Casual Joe Wash name drop.
Yeah, I had to. So I mean, but with that being said, there's always instruments around, and just being a kid, Green Day was probably my first love. Then I just like wanted
Hell
to
yeah.
do Joe, so I like, let me get a guitar. Then my grandpa made me get an acoustic guitar first, and I hated it for a while. I appreciate it now.
Yeah.
How you learn, because then I got one like electric like 2 years later. So yeah, I played electric guitar forever. Never really played in a band until these guys. Jammed around with friends in high school.
Okay.
Never went anywhere. It was usually covers. Like we were playing like Every Time I Die covers and like shit like that. And, then Charlie was almost begging me. He got a bass actually. You're like, you got a bass or like a cheap bass, and then you're like, dude, just come jam with us.
to
Just
give
come
some
jam with us.
context though, I was I wanted to start a band with Zach for years before this had ever even taken off. Like, because we worked together. That's how we
That's
met.
what we all met through Dante's.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
I knew Evan.
Well,
Evan and I went to college together, so we met like 12 years ago, something like that. So we've been friends for a really long time. And then Zach and I met in 2014 or 2015, somewhere around there. And like instantly, like, show up to work and it's like, oh, this guy's wearing a metal t-shirt. It's like when two cats see each other and you're like, you're just peeping each other out, you know what I'm saying?
That's the guy name was.
Yeah, right. So, and then we became friends and I was like, oh, you play? And I was like, dude, let's fucking start a band. And Zach was
Because you're on the coattails of MEV, right?
yeah, I was my old band, MEV, shout out. We actually are kind of trying to get things a little bit going again. It's just kind of me and the other dude, mostly him.
Nice.
We're trying to get it all going again. It's death metal. It's brutal.
Fuck up my ears.
Yeah, it's fun though. And like, so that project was kind of coming to a close, and I was very, I was sad about it, obviously, but I didn't mean to cut you off. But
Well, so
No,
you
I
guys
kind
said,
of cut you off to say that.
yeah,
I'm gonna cut you all off. So you guys worked at Ginkgo?
I worked at Ginkgo.
Okay.
At some point, well, we all work for the same person, but yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Chef Dante.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chef Dante's
We
the
would not
man.
all be a band if it wasn't for that place.
Dude, that guy's the man.
Dante is the man for sure.
Yeah, no. And so, like, for people who don't know, Ginkgo is in Tremont, a sushi joint. But when you go down the stairs, on the left, you go to Ginkgo, but on the right is Coda, which is a kick-ass venue that I just, like, I find so just unique down there. But
I love it.
That's
dude.
like our
That's
home base.
and so
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say.
I work there now too.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so do you just like you just walk down and be like, I want to go this way. So,
Yeah.
I know exactly where y'all are talking about, and there's an Indian restaurant down the street that fucking slaps. If you've never
Yeah,
been there,
Fondue,
go
man.
there.
Hell
It's
yeah.
so good.
I've been there a bunch of times. It is good.
hell yeah. All right, well, hell yeah. So, all right, so what about you? When did you get into drumming?
So I picked up percussion probably like 10 years ago or so.
Okay.
But backtrack before that. So my mom did the piano lessons as a kid. I hated it like most kids do, but I think it's such a good thing to get someone that young involved in the music because it instills a sense of rhythm in someone's head and like a musical way of looking at things. And after 5th grade, I gave it up, but like unbeknownst to me, I was still doing music and things like video games. Like I love video games, and I played Dance Dance Revolution and Donkey Konga, which is like a bongos game.
Yes. Holy shit! I just got flashed.
I forgot about that.
Guitar Hero, Rock Band, and after playing a bunch of Rock Band and stuff, I'd be like going to like my friends' houses and playing they had djembes, like a bunch of hippie circles, like doing drum circles. And I eventually just picked up a djembe very easily, and then that like progressed me into playing for this like little like quaint guitar, ukulele, and me on the djembe band. And we got to play at a couple festivals.
Cool.
And it was that wasn't really like a serious thing, but just keep staying with music. Eventually Charlie was like, yo, I'm trying to start this band, and his cousin has a drum set sitting in his his aunt's basement, but his cousin lives out in Seattle area,
Like somewhere in Oregon.
somewhere in
Okay.
Oregon, and it was just collecting dust. And Charlie was like, yo, I got a drum set for you. It's like a $1,500 double bass and Tama Imperial Star.
Holy shit.
It's a 6-piece drum set, 7-piece drum set, 4
Damn.
toms, 2 bass drums and snare. And I've just been ripping that thing for like the last 4 years. And I've been really seeing the progression like through the last 4 years. And it's been a fun ride, and I'm going to keep doing it until the day I die.
That's kick-ass that you're still using the same
Yeah.
kid as well.
Yeah.
Like, so that was your first kid all around?
That was the first
That
kid
thing's
I
got
ever had.
history on it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you started drumming like with us.
Yeah. And I just note that Evan picked up drums insanely fast. Like,
And Rock Band, there's a testament to Rock Band.
yeah,
because
for sure.
I can hold drums down in like a basic jam just because I played Rock Band so much. You just learn
Yeah.
separate the foot from the
Yeah,
hand.
you just learn the very basic, like,
But that
I'm
shit-
trash at
limit
drums.
independence.
that shit is applicable to actual drums. Shout out to any rock band phenoms out there. Go get a real drum set.
Yeah, do that instead.
Woo.
Don't just sit in your bedroom. Share it with the world. You know?
We were just downstairs watching a good South Park episode of like the acoustic, like,
Oh, yeah.
like the Guitar Hero. and shit. That was so fun.
Steamy next.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I
man.
know
Holy shit, dude. Yeah, South Park has been killing me recently going through that. And so
Evan, can I ask? So you have 2 bass drums. Do you put your snare like in between both bass drums, or do you still have it to your left?
So I actually just made the switch. I used to have 2 bass drums, 2 pedals, but as of like 3 months ago, I made the switch to go from 1 pedal on 1 bass drum. So 2 pedals, 1 bass drum, only because it's to save space for like gigging and setting up, breaking down. How much
recording too.
for recording too, because it's really hard to get those 2 to get the exact same. I'll get to your question, sorry. But in terms of where I have my snare, yeah, it would be like directly in the middle with the 2. I'm trying to get centered with you, with the 2 bass drums out like this.
Yeah.
And then the snare like right between them.
okay.
Okay.
My legs are almost like 45 degrees out, 30 degrees.
Yep. Yeah, I know exactly the setup you're talking about.
Are you a drummer?
Yeah, that's why I asked. Because
Oh,
I mean, there's a lot of ways you can do with that. Because there's some people that have the double bass and they'll have like 1 snare drum on each hip. There's some that will, just only have 1 snare drum, but it might be to their left or their right. So I was just curious how you have it set up.
yeah. So, like I said, in between them, and one thing that I think I do differently than most people, and I just become accustomed to this, is I actually have my crash and my ride separate from where most people would have them, where people would
Mhm.
have their ride in the top right and their crash on the right, and I, for whatever reason, have my ride all the way on the right and my crash on the top right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should call this the penguin technique.
Yeah.
45
You gotta get them 90 degrees.
Yeah. And then Charlie, you said you were in a band before, so when did you start?
Yeah.
dabbling with 6 string?
Okay, so I'll try to keep this short because I can get long-winded when I start talking about the origins of my guitar playing and whatnot. But so I'm one of those people who I can remember the exact moment I ever like wanted to play guitar, even a little bit. I was 9 years old, and that movie School of Rock with Jack Black like just came out.
Yeah.
And my parents got it on Netflix back when they sent you Netflix in a fucking paper thing in the mail, you know? Yeah, OG Netflix. So I watched this movie with my parents, and like at the end of it, I remember telling them, like, I want to do that. That looks awesome. Like, I want to play guitar. And, as most kids, like every 2 days, I was like, I want to try this new thing. So they probably brushed it off at first, whatever. So fast forward to like my 10th birthday, my parents got me this acoustic guitar, and I did not touch it for at least 5 years.
Yeah, that's what people do. When
So,
like you were
yeah.
talking about.
I mean, like I never, when you're 10 years old, I'm like, what the fuck do I do with this thing?
It hurts.
Yeah. I'm like, how do I make it do stuff? Like the movie looks so cool, but it's not translating for me, right? So so nonetheless, around the time I was like, I think I was a sophomore in high school, one day I just randomly picked it up and kind of started like noodling around. And I was like looking through the bag it came with like a little gig bag, and there was a DVD in there for like basic chords and scales and shit like that. So like I started like practicing this DVD, and I started like doing it every day. And then I told my mom, like I really want like guitar lessons, and I will never lose my like level of thankfulness that she actually like took me seriously in this instance and like paid a lot of money for me to go take guitar lessons. So I did that for like 2 years. And then towards the end of that 2 years, this is like my last 2 years in high school. That's when I formed a band with my cousin that he used to play the drum set that Evan now has.
Okay.
So this is kind of where it all comes together,
It follows you.
you know? And so we had a band for a little while, and then I went to college, and I was doing that for a while. That band kind of ended because, you know, I was gone. And then some of my other buddies from high school, from Cleveland Heights High, hit me up, and they were like, hey, we want you to, you know, come jam with us and see if you know, it's a good fit. This is the death metal band, MEB. And that, it ended up working out, and it was like a blast. We played together for years, man, like 5 years probably. So
Was that a 3-piece?
that was a 5-piece.
Oh, nice.
2 guitars, bass, drums, and then vocalist. And that was
Nice.
fun, but it just kind of washed out, you know. It's like life happens like that sometimes.
Yeah.
And then after that, there was a good period of time where I was really wanting to do something, but I was working a lot at Ginkgo. You know, I didn't have a ton of free time. I didn't know who it would be with or whatever. And then I think what really just kind of started, you know, Buzz Balldrin, before it was even that, was me trying to get Evan to pick this drum set up from my aunt's house. That was really
That's the ultimate.
that was-
Their hand.
that was really the tipping point. Yeah, she said that the drum set was making her sad when
So
she
how
would
did you
look
get
at
it
it.
from Oregon to here? Did you?
Oh no. My aunt lives in Cleveland Heights.
Oh, okay.
My cousin moved to Oregon, so
Gotcha.
yeah. So I texted him first, and I was like, "Hey, let me get that drum set
Yeah.
up off you, bro. Like it's sitting down there
Funny-
dying, you know."
Funny side story, the day we go pick up that drum set, we stopped at Whole Foods to go get like a burger and a beer, and shout outs to the Whole Foods on Cedar. That place is
It slapped.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
it's
really
good.
good. But we managed with the way they have their parking lot is it's not like staggered at an angle, so it's like straight on. And me and someone else managed to back up into each other like at the same time.
What?
So, like, what are the odds of 2 people getting in their car up and reversing at the same time?
Oh,
Yeah.
my
Also, we have a fucking like 10-piece drum set in there at the time, too. Like when I'm in the passenger seat. It slid all the way up. Like I'm not as tall as them two, but I'm like 6'1". I'm not a short dude. And this is a Toyota Yaris too,
Those
a
things are
fucking tiny
Tiny.
car. So we're like in this fucking clown car. We get into an accident with this drum set. It was just a perfect storm of shit that happened that day, but it ended up working out in the long run. And my dad taped his bumper on.
There you go. A nice quick fix.
Yeah, the old dad fix.
Well, like I said, in the long run, I mean, you boys, you guys got going right before obviously the pandemic, and then you could play out for a minute. We talked about how you're supposed to have a show at the Happy Dog,
Right.
and the week everything shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, kudos honestly to you guys for like keeping it going. You guys like continue to jam a lot during that whole time period.
Yeah, we were same schedule we always had, which was like Mondays and like Thursdays or something during that time, twice a week.
That's
And also, I
beautiful.
mean, at that time, you know, they were so, like the government, whatever, was so adamant about keeping a tight circle. So like this was, I mean, plus like a
Pretty
few
much
other
it.
people, but like this
Sometimes
was the
people come
circle.
here to hang out at the spot, but other than that, like I was at home or at the jam spot during that time.
I worked that whole time.
Oh yeah, you were still working.
Yeah,
I got
and
laid
that
off for
was
6
like
months.
honestly the most depressed I've ever been in my life. Shit was not cool.
Man, that's crazy. But
It was weird. It was like like the apocalypse was happening, and I'm like riding my bike to work. Nobody in sight, dude. Nobody in fucking sight.
We
Yeah.
we almost wrote a whole EP in that time, if you think about it. Like we
I
got
mean,
like
yeah.
4 or 5 songs done during that time.
Yeah, at least. And then now we had another like 5 or 6 that are like half baked.
Yeah.
And then we finished one of those half baked ones. And we're trying to do like 10 or 11 songs for like an entire album. But we had half of them done and the other half still like half baked.
Okay.
So we were like, rather than
I
wait
love
till it's all
I love how
done-
you're saying that.
Yeah.
Like half baked. That's I would use that all the time.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, that's fucking incredible.
Yeah, so we decided rather than waiting longer to put out more music, we're just gonna split it in half and do like another just 5-6 song EP.
And so that's
we're
where
record soon.
The
and-
self-titled Buzz Balldrin in 2020 was released. Is that what some of these songs were from?
No.
we're talking about the next.
This is
one.
this is
okay.
unreleased material.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So will the Saboteur be part of that?
No, that
It
I
originally
think
was
is
going to, but-
originally when we were gonna do like the full length release, that was gonna be part of it and stuff. But we had already recorded that song.
like a year
Yeah, we sat on that song. That song we recorded a long time ago.
with Chips.
With John Chips,
Yeah.
awesome dude.
Shout out to John Chips.
He plays in a band now called Blanket Party.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Ted
yeah,
Boys and
they're-
Psycho Man, and
They're good
a
friends
lot
of
of other
ours.
projects he's a part
Yeah,
of too.
Very cool.
He records at his house. A lot of local guys. Like
So that-
Ostad records with him.
Okay.
Or has at least one's roommate was Ryan, or it probably still is. I don't know.
So he's the one who like produced everything for for that first EP.
Not for the first EP, for the Saboteur is like our standalone
Yeah.
single.
You're right.
It's our most recent release.
And that's released at the end of March. Check it out,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
The
it's-
fucking
That's a
says.
fun one.
Yeah, because we
Um,
wanted to start recording with other people in the area to see if like who we originally went with, if there's something other magic that happens going with somebody
Oh,
else,
yeah.
just to see what happens. I think we're gonna stick with the original guy,
Yeah.
just because Chris is a good friend of
Yeah.
theirs and became a
So-
good friend of mine. And
Yeah, so,
So we gotta plug Chris now.
yeah. Tell us about Chris.
Chris.
So Chris DeCola is a good friend of mine that
Shout out
I've
Signal
known.
Flow.
Yeah, he works at Signal Flow Studios. They have a great studio, super professional. And it's in the same building that our practice spot is in, so it's super convenient for us too. Chris is the guy who did all the recording and engineering and whatnot for our first EP, the self-titled. But I've been recording with Chris since I was like 18 with my death metal band and stuff.
Okay.
So like
Mhm.
me and this guy go way back, and it's been honestly pretty awesome to just watch this guy go from, I mean, he had this tiny studio in his bedroom in this tiny apartment in Little Italy when I met him. And like we would just be in there drinking 40s, and like neither of us were even close to 21 at that time. And now he does it full time at Signal Flow, and he's the man. So definitely looking forward to this new release whenever we get that ball rolling.
And I'm super pumped because Signal Flow now has an air conditioner.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh my! When we recorded, it was in like middle of summer and it was upstairs in an old warehouse. Oh my god! So I mean,
Yeah.
not in the booth, like in the booth, or like where like the mixing was happening. There was an AC, but it was not good for the room. So it was like 80 degrees in there. But anywhere else, it was like almost 100
Yeah, the
degrees.
vocal
So
booth
you go
is
out there and do your
fun
take,
fact.
it was intense.
Fun fact, if you listen to that that first 4-song EP, all those vocals were done. I was in my boxers.
Just to give you guys
Fun
visual.
fact. Yeah.
Just to give
Let
you
that
guys
sink.
visual.
Let that sink.
Yeah, you know, depending how many views this gets, maybe we'll do a revisit, and that'll be the shtick for it.
Yeah.
All boxers.
Yeah.
But
We're coming out with the
yeah.
boxers.
Tarps off.
yeah,
tarps
this
off.
our OnlyFans.
It's fine. Though. Well, I'm glad you gave Chris a shot, because I mean, something when I was like again listening to your guys' EP was just like how clean I could hear everything. Like that first song,
Yeah.
The Flight of Buzz Balldrin, like your bass is ripping through like 2.5 minutes or something. I remember just, and it was on my phone as well. I'm really just like working instead of there. So
I remember there was a lot of the process where we would like get a take done for a mix and we would send it out and we listen to a phone, listen to a Bluetooth speaker on the ride home in the car, on like studio speakers, on like good speakers, like a home system.
Yeah,
Headphones.
Testing
headphones,
them all,
everything.
headphones, yeah.
Listen to it on
Just
as
to make sure that it
many
comes across.
platforms as possible, so we can just hear, okay, the mix sounds good when we listen to it on this, but when I listen to it through, say, like my AirPods or whatever, which is probably what most people would be listening to it through, like something sounds weird.
yeah,
So that's kind of been our process for
it's smart.
finding our mix, you know.
Because the closer you get into that with the mix process, the mastering is only going to be that much better.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, if you make sure it sounds good with like the quick mixes, basically, the mastering will be easy process to master it because it's already pretty much there. Just to kind of knock everything into the envelopes as it needs to be.
No, that's smart. I mean, yeah, like there's so many different ways to take music nowadays. Like you gotta check off all the lists.
Yeah, a lot of discussions on how to do it. Like, we were like, do we want to do it live? We're going to do it piece by piece. Do we want to trigger the drums? Do we not want to trigger the drums? What does that mean, triggering them? It sounds. Do we want that professional sound? Do we want it to sound more like a garage, kind of just like the take as it is, like all that, you know?
Nice. Yeah.
Do it with, like,
I didn't know
more
that was
professional
nice.
sound,
That's
you know?
Yeah, there's, I mean, we still flip flop on how we want to do it in the future. So I guess we'll figure it out when we figure it out, you
Yeah.
know.
But it works with it because we're kind of it's more technical, like all
Yeah.
our stuff. So
And also, like, we kind of, I would say, have two styles of songs typically. We have songs that are, I would say, more like, what's the word?
Radio friendly.
Yeah, like more sing-songy type of shit. And then we have stuff that's way heavier.
just rip it in your face.
So,
just
and
part
like,
after part after part.
yeah, so like that's
Not
kind
much
of
of a
the
structure.
duality of our sound. But I think it works differently for each song. Like I think on the metally ones, you kind of almost have to have everything super locked in or it gets really muddy. You know what I'm saying? Whereas you can be a little like the slower, you know, it's not like it's that slow, but slower, relatively slower songs. You can, it's a little more forgiving in the mix if you kind of, I don't want to say don't play it as cleanly, but
yeah, no,
you
like, I
know-
mean, there's
you know
a
what I'm
difference of
saying?
like when
Yeah.
you're playing it than like I don't know, really trying to focus on like everything.
right.
Yeah, like exactly.
Also, like we're human. Like things sounding absolutely perfect, like isn't never.
It
gonna
sounds
happen.
robotic too.
Because there's
and
also
it's like,
that charm aspect that you get with like a
Yeah.
recording where it's like the like just the little extra tinks and taps that like you like there's a charm to that, you know, sometimes. And then that's the conversation of, do we want to have that as like a element and like a personality of our music, or do we want it to be what it is as we try to write it? And I think we went that route, making it clearer, just so you can like hear what it is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So it's tight because we always get the compliment, and I don't know if it's like a cop out compliment of like, hey, you guys are really tight. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, and I appreciate that because we practice a lot and we are really tight.
yeah,
So
speaking of
what'd you think
cop
of
out
the songs?
compliments.
Are the songs cool? Like we might have performed them tightly, and that's
But
appreciated.
but I mean, as
I
so,
appreciate that too as a musician when I see that.
so that's what I was gonna say. It's like when I go to like a concert or something, like it doesn't have to be the like craziest fucking thing that I'm seeing, but like if they're tight, if they're transitioned, and everyone's doing it at the same
More
time,
practice.
that is like mind-blowingly just awesome. Like I like that is one of the coolest parts of music is how tight you are. And I don't know if we were recording before I said it, but I think I gave or I told you guys that compliment about how like I don't know, like there were so many transitions. Right? Like there's one song I need to figure it out.
Artillery?
Oh, yeah, well, that's a crazy one, but Sweet D, is that a Sunny reference?
Yeah.
Sweet D,
A
kind
little bit.
That one's like a little heavier.
It was heavier. I just loved you guys like because the whole beginning was like singing, and then like halfway through is when it goes to like that solo. There's just like a complete change of like tempo
Yeah.
and like, everything. And I thought that was so fucking
That
cool.
was a motherfucker to hammer out when we were originally writing it, and even still is kind of a pain in the ass at times. But like, I know the transition you're talking about. It's the
I don't
goes,
remember how we recorded that.
yeah.
complete tempo change, and yeah, I mean, just before we even like started recording that, when we were just practicing it, you know, because we try to get everything tight before we go to the studio, so we don't waste time, or whatever. Man, we probably played that like 1,000 times, just that section of that song, trying to figure out, and then it always. When in doubt, man, you just gotta look at the drummer because
He leads it all.
yeah, that's what I'm
Got
saying. As long as we come in when the cymbal hits go,
On one, that's yeah.
it's gonna sound okay because whatever the tempo is after that will fall in.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
dude. No, yeah. You guys. I mean, you guys.
Yeah,
are
so
just
if they start pissing me off, I could just like speed them up real nicely.
make them bleed.
I
But
thought it was interesting that y'all said that you don't really have jam elements in your music. Because this morning when I was talking to Spruce, word I guess phrase I used to describe like how what I thought your music sounded like was jam grunge, like early Nirvana, like early Soundgarden, like that raw grunge that has like more parts that are just like music that no singing.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Um,
it's interesting to me that you said there's no jamming. I
well,
mean I get it if it's not, if it's rehearsed then it technically isn't, but just how you have like those long instrumental parts, one, I think is sick, but two, it led me to think like, okay, live these guys probably just like jam out for a few minutes. So that's not the case.
No, we definitely
yeah.
don't.
When I say jam, I mean like more improv parts that
Yeah.
Traditional. Yeah.
we
I mean, it jams like. I mean, almost
Right,
all the
right,
songs
right.
have guitar solos, and they always jam with the guitar solo like that feel, but not like the improv, jammy, like noodly, like a
yeah.
lot of
I
triplets
mean,
in a solo.
I think
Jerry
part
Garcia jammy.
of at least for us, I mean, there's other bands that I'm sure pull this off much smoother than we have yet, but like it's kind of difficult in my opinion to like hit the transition parts as smoothly as I like to if we're kind of
Mhm.
going off script. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Yeah.
Like, because if like I'm noodling around, like say I get carried away in the guitar solo, or you know, just it just adds a variable of we could totally fuck this up, and then we'll all be confused, and then like I don't know, maybe this is me being self-conscious or whatever, but I'm like, dude, then everyone's gonna think we suck.
Even though the audience has like no idea. Like
No, they have no idea anyway,
They have
so they
no
probably
idea.
don't care. But
Because there's not a lot of when we're playing live. There's not a lot of like
expected moments.
for us like the way we count it. It's like I'm not counting like 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
2, 2, 3. Like the block of like measures for like this portion to go on a jam. It's just like always very defined. So once we always and there's songs right now that we have pretty much done, but like the solo section is like not for sure like figured out 100% what it wants to be. That we don't play them live yet for that reason.
Okay.
right,
Like we
I'm
don't know
very
exactly
particular
how
about
long
I
it wants
that.
to
respect
go.
Yeah.
And I mean I don't have any of that in my background, like the jamming and like trying to like feel it out live, because I'd rather it be like a good performance than like some dudes up there trying to do something that they don't really do. Just for the sake of
That's for practicing.
right. That's why we practice it so much.
Right. I mean, that's not to say though that I mean I think it's especially people will see this when we do have our next release, but there is specifically one song on there that goes into a very like what I think a lot of people would expect to be like a jamming part, you know, or whatever. But little do they know it's all meticulously crafted out, or it's getting to that point, you know.
Kick ass.
That's what I'm
Like-
saying. Like, especially when I heard all artillery, I thought like, okay, yes, this is like scripted, but like, I just my assumption was like, okay, some of it is just like open ended, and these dudes just got a kick ass take when they recorded it.
And that
Well,
all
okay.
comes from like bedroom jamming.
Some of it
Because
was that though.
I'm
Some
always
of it was just the take was good.
yeah.
There was some moments,
Yeah,
especially
like
in
just
that
like letting
song.
it breathe and like we
Yeah.
practice like we like oh we want to do a part after that and like we all locked in and like all right so that makes sense that it ends there because like the way I write and I think we kind of write is like if I was coming across this song as it was and I had nothing to do with it, what would happen next in the song that makes me go oh that's fucking sick, dude.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of what a lot of our writing is. So maybe it comes off jammy in that sense because also I draw a lot of like unconscious inspiration, I think, from Kohi. And the way that they write their songs is very similar in that sense where it's part after part after part after part. It's a journey. It's like the next part, I'm like, oh, that's so sick that they went into something like that. And then like the next part and like seeing it as a whole journey as opposed to like you have this riff, you have this hook, let's, work these up and then like yeah, so that's kind of also where the jammy element probably comes from. Because, like I said, a lot of bad bedroom jamming. Like, I figure out a riff, I start jamming it a lot, and then like I just record, and then like it goes into a next. I just start improvising something, and like that sounded dope. Then refine that part, next part, you know.
That's awesome.
It's like we were just fast. And like, what would it sound like if we did something slower?
Yeah.
What are elements that are slower that we like in music when it slows down from like this band or that band or this style?
Very meticulous. You
Yeah,
guys know
I
exactly
think-
what you're looking for.
I think that like that aspect of our sound definitely comes from Zach, because I'm about the riff, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm like go mode when it comes to riffing, you know, and I think Zach definitely
Yeah, all of our songs are riff based.
Zach is there to be like, all right,
That
let's
riff's
let
dope,
this-
but let's do it. In a
let's let
second.
this breathe a little bit, because otherwise I started when I started playing guitar, I was like thrash metal, like fucking loved Slayer and Metallica, Megadeth, like Pantera, all that stuff. I still do, but like, so that's kind of like my root. So when I'm really, especially if I like start writing a song that starts with like, you know, a really fast riff, I'm just like, all right, that can't be the climax. It has to go, you know what I'm saying? But like, that's why I'm saying like, I like having Zach there to, because he'll just be like, well, what if we did this? And then I'm like,
Yeah, sometimes we write
Okay.
our songs. Well, I'll be honest. I don't really have much in the songwriting process. Mostly them two will get together, come up with riffs and grooves, and then they take that to me. And, you know, I get my freedom to do what I want on it. Granted, it's a team effort though, because like they'll come over and be like, yo, go do a halftime groove or a double time groove. And then I'll be, you know, I'll kind of try to fill in the gaps of like how we get from this one transition to the next transition. So they help me kind of solidify the drums in, and I try to help them solidify the riff.
yeah, it's very much a team effort how we write.
Yeah, and there's very much times where
Very cool.
you're putting a drum track to something, and it's not what was in my mind. I didn't even know if I had a drum track yet, but the drum track you end up putting on it makes it feel completely different, which then opens up. We can do this next now.
That is a
Because
big
you were
thing.
just doing that, and that would be fucking.
That
cool,
is a
'cause
big
reminds me of
aspect to us setting the
this or
vibe.
Yeah.
Is what the drums are doing. Because you could have the same riff playing, and Evan could be playing something completely crazy, and it will have a totally different vibe than if he's kind of just chilling on the ride a little bit, you know?
Mhm.
And then it helps me figure out my bass parts, because I usually write, if I'm writing from guitar aspect usually. I mean, I have some songs that we started that were completely off of a bass riff, and built off of them that way. But I mean, I still write at home on the guitar for the most part and just practice my bass parts. Or when I'm playing bass, just to stay loose, I'll like just listen to songs, learn them by ear. That's one of my favorite things to do, just sit in the bedroom and just learn songs from ear, put your own spin on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's I mean, there's the aspect of the playing of the music, but man, the aspect of creating music. That's where I find my love of music. I feel like I just want to be a songwriter at the end of the day. Because
When you figure out that puzzle,
yeah,
we're like struggling with the song for like
Such
a
a good
year on how to
feeling.
wrap it up, and then finally we like wrap it up, and it's just like that's all the song needed.
Yeah, literally.
Get out of the fact that we thought
And that is
part
a
was so
thing-
cool a year ago.
that
and
is
now
a
it's
thing
like,
that
now it's like
happened
pulling
too.
it back a little bit.
100%. Yeah, it's very an in the moment thing. But I mean, just as you guys described, like Evan, we will be watching you. Your drum fills were crazy on that. I remember just being like, "What the fuck's happening back there?" All over the place. And yeah, dude, and Charlie, I mean, it's pretty evident that you started with that DVD and then going to lesson from there, because that is the way to do it. I've never taken a lesson in my life.
Yeah,
people out
too.
Yeah, and like, but you're a certified ripper, dude.
Thanks.
I don't know who
Thank
you
you.
hear it out there, but like you there's multiple times.
Yeah, to all the naysayers, we say nay.
Hey, Nay, guess what? We got Charlie, certified ripper, with us in studio.
Thank you. That means a lot to me, because I try to stay very humble with it. I mean, I still practice like just about every day, and am always, I don't know if it's like just an artist thing, but extremely self-conscious of like what my abilities are. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
But I think that's how you push yourself. At least some people, like for me, that's what keeps the fire under my ass.
Exactly.
Because if I didn't, I hate when people get cocky, because it's like, even if you're good, it's like, all right, but
There's
you can
always someone
be,
better.
you can always be exactly. You can always be better. And I fucking hate people who are better than me. So,
It's a
so
never-
fuck them.
It's a never-ending process. Like even the best of the best are still out there learning new things every day.
The best of the best is in their basement right now, not playing out. Like it's
right. Some 15-year-old kid practicing for his YouTube video that just shreds.
Yeah.
I hate those kids.
It's like a whole other lane. It's like weird almost. Like you just be in your bedroom on your own, get really good at your craft, but you don't need to go the traditional route of like making songs, recording them, finding people to record
I mean, the internet changed the game totally. Because
sure.
I mean, the internet was a thing when I was learning guitar, but it wasn't as easy to like learn. Like I can't tell you how many songs I learned just by sitting in my parents' computer room when I was a kid and like just rewinding it 30 seconds at a time, like 100 times to figure out what this part was. You know, I like was learning this shit by ear because there was like ultimateguitar.com, whatever, for guitar tabs.
Put anything on
but there wasn't a
like,
huge library at the time. It was relatively new at that time. You know, now you can go on YouTube and find a lesson of anything. So I think it'll be interesting to see down the line. I think a lot of kids are going to be getting better faster because they have more of, you know, they don't have to waste 10 hours a day sitting there to learn one riff.
Yeah.
You know, you can go watch this guy, you know, play it on YouTube and explain how it's done. And like that just speeds the process up along.
I remember hearing Gary Clark Jr. talk about something similar where he used to like record on VHS, like Austin City Limits and like watch it over and over. And he would just sit there on his VCR and record like you go back the same minute and just do what he was doing with his fingers to like learn songs. Whereas you have that, but you don't have to sit there and catch it live on TV and record it. You have like an infinite plethora of the actual person playing it, people playing it their way, all of that to kind of learn.
It's incredible. Yeah, no, it's incredible. It's honestly like I'm just mad at myself every day for like not trying to do more videos and stuff and just like put it down because I just don't feel like I'm done with something until just something's out there, a video, the song finished. So yeah, that is a crazy aspect. Like nowadays, like you just said, don't have to rewind everything. Yeah, very cool, very cool. All right, let's shift gears. We've talked about recording a little bit. Let's get to the show. So you guys just played at No Class.
Yeah.
Back in a couple weeks ago, mid-June, correct?
Or mid-May.
Mid-May? Okay, my bad. So didn't the place just get like renovated recently or new ownership or something?
New ownership, yeah.
Okay.
We were chatting with the owner. She's very friendly. I think her name was Emma.
No. I've honestly never been there. I've only seen videos and pictures. But for people who don't know, it's technically in Cleveland, but it's on like the Cleveland Lakewood
It's
border.
right near 117. Like right on the cusp there. Like you can walk to Lakewood in 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's my brother's lounge and all that stuff over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a venue, but it has an entire like skate ramp. Is it in the background? Like
they took that out, man.
No,
that was cool.
Now that's bad. So it was kind of tongue-in-cheek ironic because it was like a shitty punk club.
And now it's no.
And they're like, now that's class, but now they're kind of embracing it more. They're like,
Yeah.
no, it's just no class.
I mean, as far as venues go, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's kind of a hole.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I think that's the aesthetic they're kind of going for.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's hit it. Go down the line, favorite venue that you played at so far?
I think favorite venue I've played at would be Coda still.
Yeah.
We played there the most, but I mean, it's great because it's like home field advantage a little bit for us. But also, like being from there. But I mean, Dan, great sound dude. The sound there is amazing. I can't think of a time where it didn't sound good
Always so
on
good.
stage. I can't think of a time where I've seen the show and it didn't sound good sitting at the bar.
Yeah.
So I think
And,
that's
and
my
no matter
favorite.
what size the band was, genre, that's playing at Coda, like Dan's the man, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was a really nice guy. We played, like I said, at a band Home Alone, and in 2019, like December time, we played there, and I like talking to him before the show. He was just such a genuine dude, and was like really trying to help, like figure out what sound like you're going for as well.
It's expertly soundproof too, which helps a lot with it being a basement. Sounds good in there.
Very nice. What about you, Evan?
So I'm going to go with Mayhall's, the upstairs portion. They have like the stage that sits a good 4 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
But what I like, and they got like cool like 80s like disco lighting in there, and they got the checkered like dance floor.
Yeah, it's like
pretty-
themed like the lodge
yeah,
from Twin Peaks.
yeah,
before
it's
and
true. It's cool.
Yeah.
But my favorite part about it is like it's one of the only venues that I've been to that they have their drums up. Like you set the drums up on top of the stage.
They took that out.
They did.
Yeah,
right.
They took out the drum
Yeah.
riser.
Yeah.
But
For a time though, it was there.
yeah, if you ever getting to play drums like that's above the ground, like just makes your sound boom so much better and sounds clear, sounds better. And just being that high off the ground is pretty cool too.
I like the drum riser also because it was a nice little thing to just jump off. Just adds
Yeah.
adds
Put your
adds
foot
to
on.
the stage antics a little bit, you know, which we're not really known for outside of wearing ridiculous spacesuits, you know.
I mean, that room in itself is ridiculous. I walk
Yeah,
in there, I
right.
feel like I'm in a different world.
It is
than
very-
except with the old-fashioned bowling where you have to like keep your own score, right? In the
Yeah.
other room.
Yeah, a fun fact actually, the second time we played there, we were in the basement and they were having some like, I don't know, 80-year-old and over bowling league at the same time as our show. And, so we're doing sound check and like this fucking geezer comes over to us and he's like, he just was really angry and he came up to me and he's just like kind of yelling in my face, "This is way too loud. You guys need to calm down. You need to turn it down." And I'm looking at the sound guy and the sound guy is shaking his head no. So I'm just like, all right, man, I guess we'll try. And then, so he wanders back off, takes him like 20 minutes, whatever, to walk back over there. I'm not trying to be mean to old people, but this guy was a dick. And like, so I asked the sound guy, I'm like, should we like turn it down? He's like, no, fuck that, dude.
The problem is they can't really turn down because the Mayhall basement shows they don't mic anything up, and
Yeah.
I'm
We
a
got to
very-
play to Evan.
They got to play to me, and I'm a very loud drummer. So I mean,
4 Fs on everything he plays.
what?
Nothing.
Oh, and so like I can't really play quiet. I mean, I could play quieter, but it wouldn't fit the style of our music. Our music is ripping loud,
Yeah,
like caution,
Yeah.
wear ear protection.
that is a real thing, man. I mean, like, I try to say that
My amps always.
when we have shows, you know, I try to tell the people, like, without sounding lame, like, you know, a lot of bars like will sell earplugs, like a lot of venues and stuff. So I'm like, you know, the bar sells earplugs. Just throw that out there. Try to do it in the beginning.
No, you have to, dude. It's a real thing. I feel like just this past couple months of shows that Pop and I'm gone. We saw Chevelle with Korn.
Oh
Oh
wow!
yeah.
Like it was the loudest guitar. We were fucking football fields away, or maybe not that far, but I that is one I wish I
Where was that at?
Fort Wayne, Indiana, actually.
Okay.
Allen County War Memorial
Oh,
Coliseum.
Fort Wayne, Indiana. Club calls me. He's supposed to bring his other buddy, and like I didn't know that much about Korn, but he's like, it's a Monday, like in March. I'm like,
It's
all right, I'm driving up.
So, hey, you want to see corn in a cornfield?
Yeah, literally. And it was a hoot, man. There was, I mean, the like people were nuts. Korn was insane to see, but Chevelle was honestly a really cool opening act as well.
But I think House of Blues has the best sound in Cleveland. My opinion.
Yeah,
For
That's
seeing
my
shows,
opinion too.
I think it has the best sound.
a little bit. I've been just
There's some really big acts that play House of Blues. I mean, they get a lot of the same acts that like the Agora gets.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, definitely that class of band.
Still, Peabody's is the best venue ever.
Peabody's R.I.P.
Dude,
man.
R.I.P. Oh my god, my family.
Some of the funnest shows I've ever been to, man. I mean, that place, talk about a hole. That place was fucking gross, man.
Just covered in the black building.
Just
covered in
slime, slimy.
Like, I
Yeah,
remember going to like
every Surf's
all
Net
these
place
shows
had,
in the
place
summer,
had
like,
Coke on it for sure.
such a ball buster.
Yeah.
Like, I remember like I went and saw it was like called Thrash and Burn, and it was like every metalcore band from 2005 that mattered was playing at this thing, and I was like 15 at the time or 14, and I just wanted to be at the front so much that the last 4 bands you can't leave or else you're not going to get up to the front.
Yeah.
So like I just remember suffering for like the last 4 because I just really wanted to see Asking Alexandria like up in close, and like now I look back on it, like that's the.
Is that when you got knocked
shit
out?
ever. No, it was at Peabody's, but it was a different show. Yeah, some like.
Hold on, we got to hear that story.
Yeah, Zach got knocked out.
I was like
man.
on the stage, and I was actually my buddy's brother's older. What was her fucking name? Holy shit! What was the name of the band? It was like their album release show, A Fines. If you ever remember hearing about A Fines. But anyway, I was just at the front of the stage, and there's a stage diver, and he jumped over me, but like kicked me on his way over and just knocked me down.
What, dude? Holy
Yeah, I just remember coming to. My buddy was like, "Are you all right?" I was like, "Yeah, I think. I don't know what just happened." And like, yeah, I got knocked the fuck out. But,
Yeah, we've all been there. Man.
but yeah, I remember like the Peabody's, like the security. Eventually, they were just like opening cases of water and just dumping them on the crowd because it was like that hot. Yeah, it was fun though.
The carpet. I remember the carpet.
Yeah, the whole thing was covered in carpeting. It was a black building, so the summers were just terrible in there.
Yeah,
added to the fun.
Fucking roasty. Oh yeah. Well, I think that was a perfect transition into we have an ultimate question we ask all the guests, but I'm gonna let Captain Klep take it from here.
All right. What is the most bizarre, unique, strange thing that you've ever seen at a live show? Whether it's one of your own shows, one that you were playing, or just in the crowd watching, like anything, just one that you were at.
does it have to be bizarre or strange, or can it just be
It can be
shocking?
It could be
It could be
shocking,
anything.
cool. Just I guess
That's what I was thinking too.
Our suit of armor.
I've got two that
the way I should
immediately
start
come to mind.
phrasing this question is most memorable.
Okay,
Yeah, all right.
so this was my story of getting pseudo knocked out at a show. So I was seeing the Black Dahlia Murder, R.I.P. Trevor Sternhead, best
Rest in
metal
peace.
vocalist of all time, in my opinion.
Standard, dude.
Mental health awareness is real. Get help
Yes.
if you need it. Anyway, so I'm at Black Dahlia Murder, and I'm like towards the front, kind of near the pit, but the pit was kind of behind me. And there's a dude wearing like a full suit of armor, like plate mail, like legitimate fucking plate mail.
Oh
With the
man.
helmet, he's got fucking like chainmail under the plate mail. Like this motherfucker was ready for battle.
Straight from the
dude.
Renaissance.
And they let him
Yeah, right
in.
So I'm thinking like, dude, who let this fucking guy in? Someone's gonna get hurt.
How did he get past? The
Yeah.
I don't know. He had to go through a fucking metal detector. I don't know.
Yeah, did they not have metal detectors back
They do.
then?
They're very. This was at the Agora, and they're very on it,
This is
man.
post 9/11. So.
Yeah,
What the
they're
fuck?
fucking on it. So I remember thinking, as soon as I see this guy, someone's gonna get hurt. Like, so fast forward like a few songs, the pit's kind of getting, it's moving its way up towards me, right? So I'm like, a veteran of the death metal show. So I'm like, whatever, this is cool. And then out of nowhere, like, I kind of start to turn my head, and I just see this dude's helmet, and it smacks me in the side of the face. Like someone like pushed him, and his helmet was so heavy, top heavy, he started falling. He couldn't catch himself, and he fucking hit me in like my orbital bone.
What?
And I'm
Oh,
pretty sure
no.
it hit my orbital bone because I can feel it's like got a little edge to it now. But so my eye like was split open and shit. This is unbeknownst to me. And I was so tightly pressed in between people, like I definitely blacked out for a second. And like I came to, and I remember like seeing stars. Like I thought that shit was in cartoons. That shit is real. Kid you not. And so I was like, man, I knew somebody was gonna get hurt because of that dude, right? So anyway, I'm like, whatever, I'm not dead. I dropped my beer, but whatever. It was like $16, so that sucked. And then like, I don't know, like 5 minutes later, this dude comes up to me and he's like, yo, man, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Why? And he's like, you're like covered in blood right now.
Holy shit.
And so I kind of touched my eye, like it was super tender, and I could feel just blood all over my face. And so that was one of the moments. And later that night, I took a shot with Trevor Sternhead from Black Dahlia because he had seen it from the stage. He saw me get fucked by this guy.
Damn.
And then he came up to me. I was standing in the bar. He's like, what's up, man? Are you okay? I saw that dude hit you. And I'm like, I don't get starstruck easily, but like this dude is like one of my idols, you know, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
God, like
They remembered you and
yeah.
everything.
He's like, let's do a shot. So that was cool. The other time was we all went to Slayer,
Oh my God, this.
and
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
dude who was standing right next to where we were standing, like there was a mosh pit, but it's like on the lawn of Blossom.
And it was right before the encore.
Yeah, so it's like
They encore with Raining Blood, so there's that whole like beginning intro part where it's like a thunderstorm. And
yeah,
there's just,
it's all
like, sounds.
ambient and like there's
So we're
like
waiting for the
yeah.
encore to
Mhm.
start, and everybody knows it's gonna be Raining Blood.
So they start playing and the crowd pushes forward, and I guess someone like fell on this guy or something. So I look down and like right next to where I'm standing, this guy's leg is like completely like
Hanging.
Yeah, he picked up
just
he picked up his right
dangling, like
leg,
shattered,
and
man.
right here it felt
Like
Yeah.
shattered.
like I saw him pick it up, and as soon as he picked it up and I saw it,
Holy
they
shit.
started playing.
His foot, yeah, dude,
And
yeah, so
It was
metal,
the most metal thing I've ever
so
seen.
metal. And me and Zach are just like
I'm
giving
very
him the horns and
unfortunate,
shit.
He
Like,
was throwing the horns on the stretcher. It was fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
He was pumping.
This guy was a champ.
While holding one leg in the air, he was just doing this. in the
Holy
hospital.
shit!
but like,
Yeah,
holy
that's
fuck,
right.
man, it was disgusting.
And it wasn't even
like-
a hard fall.
No.
Like somebody bumped him
damn.
and he just tripped. But like the way that he tripped, it just
Ooh.
Dude, but it's like it freaked me out because I was like a foot away from this. Like that could have been me, man.
That hill is steep.
It is steep,
Yeah, it
dude.
was
Especially when
downhill.
you got like 150 people
Oh yeah, people were
coming
eating
down
shit.
full speed right behind you. Like,
Yeah, because like there's the concrete out there, so if you're going across the pit and you're going downhill,
yeah,
oh,
I'm
like,
sure
we're
there
eating
was.
shit on the
Gravity
concrete.
do its thing.
I'm sure there was a lot of.
I remember I counted
injuries
6
that
pits at
night.
one point in the lawn during Slayer.
Really?
Yeah, it
That was
pretty
their
cool.
farewell tour too.
Oh,
So
okay.
like, I mean, that was a fucking wild show.
I just remember the other one for me from No Class,
What? Which
the
one?
bar stool.
Oh yeah, Zach. Oh yeah. Well, you tell that one. Man.
So there's local band D Trigger, local hardcore guys, awesome. Also another band called John, but JAWN. So me and Evan go to the show because we were playing with V Trigger, and I was like, I've seen them before. You should come check it out. It'll be fun. It was so at No Class they didn't do the big stage. They have like a tiny stage by the bar.
Okay.
So it was completely packed to the gills in there for the
this
show.
was when it was still Now That's Class, I think.
It
too.
was like the
One of-
last week
one
or
of the
two
last
before
shows,
it was
So semi-recent.
Yes.
They went through a brand new.
And I remember watching John was cool. The dude got naked and got on the bar and was singing. He had a ski mask on at one point, I think, too.
The crowd was chanting,
Yeah.
"Show us your dick."
Yeah, show us your dick.
And he just gave it to him.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And then, so I just remember watching the whole show. I didn't mosh or anything for John. And then I started getting drunker, and then B Trigger was on, and I really liked them, and I started getting into it, and I was like watching. And as I was watching this, I did see somebody periodically, like on the side of the bar, they would pick up a bar stool and just threw it into the pit.
Holy shit.
And I was like, holy shit, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And then I had forgotten about that aspect that kept happening, and I was like, in it, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go mosh now.
No.
So
Oh,
as soon as I
no.
get into the moshing, that person decided to do it again, and I just split my head open.
Oh.
Got the bar stool, split my head open, was gushing blood. Probably took me like, I should have got stitches. It took me like 3 or 4
It
hours.
was right there. Like, I see a little mark.
Yeah, they
It
still
took me
got
like
the
3 or
scar
4
from it,
hours to
man.
get it to stop bleeding
You
on
can
my
put some
own.
bio oil.
I was
in that
definitely a
shit,
little
dude.
concussed. Like I just walk up to the bar and they're just handing me napkins and I'm just leaking on the bar.
Still trying to dance.
Yeah, yeah. It was.
They're like, "Here, put some whiskey on it." You know?
Yeah,
Call it a
it's
day.
Now That's Class. They're probably like, dude, this happens like every
They
day.
gave me just a
Here's-
bunch of band-aids,
here's
like
some
this
black
nice. I can't remember her name. But, like, I was outside smoking a cigarette and I was like, can you help me put these band-aids on? And she was like, yeah, I got you.
Fuck.
So that was probably in vain of that. I mean, other crazy shit from shows. Do you have any, Evan?
I was gonna say the Slayer one.
The Slayer one. I remember, you know the band Foxygen?
I do not.
They're kind of like indie psych rock.
Okay.
But anyway, they were playing at Beachland, and the lead singer was very, very into himself. He had like 6 wardrobe changes. and everything.
What?
And you could tell that the backup band that was with them was like they had like a horn section, like saxes and like trumpet and stuff. You could tell that they were all like goofing on him, like they were just hired for that tour,
Yeah.
and it just kind of made it funny and uncomfortable a little bit.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that. I'm like, oh, these dudes are like straight goofing on this guy
Yeah.
because he's like thinks he's Bowie up there. I mean, John Rado, shout out to him, he's great. musical composer.
Yeah.
He writes all the music. He's not the guy who is being goofed on. But,
Oh, I came up with one. So this is like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. There's this, it's not a band, it's this solo performer. His name is Borns. He writes music, like electronic music, sings over it.
Okay.
And he had
Yeah.
a show at the some Akron theater. It was supposed to be at the beach.
Akron Civic Theater.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be at the Beachland, but they sold so many tickets, I guess, that they wanted to move it to the Akron Civic Theater. So me and my buddy, we end up going there and stuff, and like halfway through a song, like all of a sudden he just like stops and turns the lights on, and I guess some girl had like passed out in the front or something. Like I don't know from what, either like starstruck or like lack of, maybe it was just too tightly packed, but she ended up passing out. The dude ended up pausing the song, getting her help, and like I thought it was really cool that instead of letting that shit slip
It's
by,
always great when artists do that.
he turned the lights on and was like, hold on, we're gonna get this girl help. Security, come get and make sure that she's okay. And then he restarted the song.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
I mean
yeah.
that's obviously the right thing to do, but I think a lot of musicians like that Astro World thing.
yeah,
You know, who knows the circumstances of it? I'm not trying to like put any blame on anyone where it doesn't belong or anything, but at some point, like
You can see when stuff's not
you
right.
you gotta know, you gotta be able to sense that vibe. Like the first time I saw Slayer, I was with my cousin, the drummer, and he and I was maybe 16, and he's about a year younger than me, so he's probably like 15. And at one point, I mean, same deal. Like the amount of people who were just pressing forward, it was like crazy. Like that's the only show I've ever been to where I was legitimately crossed my mind that I could die at this show. Because I was so tightly pressed between people. Every time I exhaled, I couldn't inhale again.
Holy shit.
You know what I'm saying? And like the Slayer did the same thing. They were like, yo, everyone needs to take like 5 steps back. And I mean, who knows what would have happened had they not stopped that? I mean, I felt like I was on the verge of passing out. And like I said, like I'm not a small dude. Even then I was like almost 6 feet tall. So I'm sure there was a lot of smaller people in the crowd who were not faring as well as I was.
Klep and I will always talk about that at concerts of how blessed we are to be tall, and like couldn't imagine like the 5'2" girl just like trying to make her way up. I'm like, I feel so bad. I want to take it.
Yeah, right.
She's on the rail and her boyfriend's behind her. Just
Yeah.
like, taking it all.
Guarding her, yeah.
Yeah. We're blessed. We're blessed. Well, hell yeah, gents. You know, I mean, we've said it before, but like just meeting guys like you is like, wow, we want to do this whole thing. To let you guys just talk, but like, I don't know. I mean, it's fun to talk about music. You're like, that's why everyone's involved in it, and like go to pay money to see these fucking concerts, and we'll continue to do it. So I appreciate you guys very much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thanks. Absolutely. Klep, you got anything else for our boys, our Buzz boys?
Just a couple questions. 1, any upcoming shows, and 2, any projected release time period for that next set of recorded songs, whether it be 2 EPs or a full LP?
Take this one if you guys don't
Go
mind.
ahead.
Okay, so we have a fuckload of upcoming shows.
All right.
We have the most upcoming is July 16th with Flourish and a band called Trainwrecked. I believe they're from somewhere in Pennsylvania, I think. Don't quote me, but I think that's where they're from. So anyway, that's July 16th at Beachland. Right after that, we just confirmed a show at the Outpost in Kent for July 28th. I'm not sure who we're playing with then at that one. We might have another one in Kent August 4th at a place called Burnt Pickle that I haven't heard of yet, but looking forward to it. That one's not confirmed yet. We're not sure. And then we have August 22nd with a band from New York.
Takeover or something?
Take over the band.
Takeover, yeah.
They're called Takeover.
They're from New York. That one's on a Monday, so if any of the people who listen to this want to come, that would be great, because Monday shows can be a drag sometimes.
Where's that one at?
That's at the Winchester. And then later that week we're playing Coda That is on the 27th of August. So lots of cool stuff coming up.
The boys are buzzing. The boys are buzzing.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned earlier saying where people can find us or whatever. So like Instagram, Buzz Balldrin with 2 L's. Everyone spells it with 1 L, but it's like Buzz Ball, like Buzz Balldrin. So anyway, that's Instagram. That's our Facebook name too. We have T-shirts you can buy. They're cool.
They're dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll show them off. We'll post it on our social.
We're working on stickers and all that shit.
Yeah, we finally got some more logos made up, and
yeah, very recently
some more stuff to, like,
we
make
finalized our logo stuff. So
and as far as like the recording,
yeah, we were hoping sometime this summer we would get it in, but I think the earliest right now is looking like September, probably, just considering we have all these shows coming up.
so
Mm-hmm.
if we killed in the studio late fall, it should be out.
Yeah, late fall is probably the soonest it would be.
But hoping for end of this year at
Yeah,
least.
and that would probably be like a 5-song EP, something like that, 5 or 6.
Okay.
songs.
Yeah, because we got some like interlude things that we're working on too that could be a track, but it's not like a traditional song.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, so stay tuned, man. Follow us on stuff.
On the internet.
Yeah.
Come
popping
see
off
what
the
the
roadies.
come see what the buzz is all about.
Ayo, yeah, that's our tagline.
Hell yeah. Well, we're gonna keep it going because no, I need to get out and see you boys. I fucking love that first EP and the new song again. The Saboteur came out March 31st. Go check that bad boy out. But yeah, again, gents, thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you. You guys have some kick-ass stories. I love your very meticulous like work that you guys are doing in creating music. Everything is purposeful, and I love just the combination of, I don't know, all ideas coming together. Like you guys are working together truly as a unit. So
We appreciate
shout out
that.
to everyone.
Thank you. Thank
for having
you.
us on.
Hell yeah! All right, we'll do a little bit of sign out. So my name is Spruce.
Zack Wilson.
I'm Evan Hubbard.
I'm Charlie McCoy.
I'm Klep.
And this has been another episode of Vinyl Stallions!